Elizabeth, as I was walking around my life, pondering the world and our places in it, I came across a thought of where are we as a society, and you as a woman.
We're fucked.
Sorry, it's all over. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. This has been life.
Continue with your
where
question.
are we on a partner? A partner taking their partner's last name in marriage, i.e. like a traditional, the way it's normally women take a husband's last name.
I'd say traditionally rather than normally.
Yes,
but
sorry,
yes.
that's where I was angling. And what do you think of in a straight marriage, for example, the husband taking the wife's last name? Does it matter? Where are we?
You do whatever you damn well please. Is where I'm up to. Do you know, honestly, when I was younger, I could not wait to get rid of my last name, which seems ridiculous now. My last name is best.
Yes, it is.
It is literally the best surname that you can have.
If this is the case example for why wouldn't a man change his last name to the woman's last name? Because you could be Mr. Best.
It's true. You could. That's my dad. That's so weird.
True.
Not that, Mr. Best. The problem was when I was younger, I got Liz Worst because people thought they were hilarious, and Liz Breast because I developed very early.
Very droll.
And so I was like, I can't wait to get rid of it. And then, I'd practice my name with ex-boyfriend's surname, and now I'm just like, there is no way. You have to pry this name off my cold dead hands. And even then, it's still going to be on my tombstone or memorial stone or whatever the hell.
Well, that seems to be the current sort of mood in society, right?
But I have no problem with men. I think I've got a friend who's, when she married her husband, his parents were a little bit stroppy that they were hyphenating their name and that her name would be the final one. So like if it was like Smith, his last name was Smith and her last name was Roberts, that their name would be Smith Roberts, not Roberts Smith.
Right.
It was just, he was very much like, well, no, you should just be taking, the family was really upset about it. And I think it's really funny. They only told them on the day that it was happening.
Just bring it on, dude. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think tradition has to matter about that anymore. Absolutely not. I think as long as the two of you are on the same page, I mean, if it'd be a little bit difficult if someone's like, no, you will take my name.
That's an interesting roadblock to throw up. You will take my last name.
But then you've got to think about if you're having children as well, because some people, I know somebody who is basically the last male of the line, and if he has chosen not to have children, so he's been lamenting the fact that literally the name is going to die with him because he's not having kids.
Yeah, and what's your family line ever achieved, really? I mean, is it such a great tragedy to humanity?
But this is the thing, you've got to figure out, because then there are complications that come between parents and children not having the same surnames and everything like that. So I guess it's a conversation to have, but I don't think there need to be any rules anymore.
Yeah, no rules.
Fuck the rules.
Yeah, get them out of here. I quietly, I don't know. I'm Tom Harris, right? And I was born Tom Harris.
Yes.
And I'll probably end up dying Tom Harris. But the chance to sort of halfway through to change your name and slightly become grasp on.
Honestly, that's part of the appeal that I liked when I was like, oh, I can be, Elizabeth XYZ. But yeah, like just there was I did say for ages that I wanted to marry Eddie Perfect just so that I could hyphenate our surnames and we could be Perfect Best or Best Perfect.
Well, hopefully that everything aligns for that to happen. If not,
Eddie, call me.
Failing that, hello one, hello all to Ghost of Boyfriend's Past. Across from me is Elizabeth Best, and
that is correct.
And I'm Thomas Harris, to give you my full title. What are we here to do? It's Ghost of Boyfriend's Past. We get a guest on. They bring a story about a love, romance, dating, marriage, etc. gone by, and we have a little bit of a sticky beak around. But to justify that, we wrap it up at the end with what did we learn? This isn't just a chance to be gossipy, I mean,
it is.
It is, but
it isn't just.
But we justify it, yes. And our guest for this week, as it is a main episode, is a returning guest, and he is
one of our original first guests.
Yes, that's right. He was in our first 5 or 10 episodes ever, I think. So if you want to go back far to revisit, your man Alex Smith is here. How do you do, my friend?
I'm good. Hello, how are you?
Welcome back. Now, we've got you on today as a little bit of cross-promo shenanigans going on here. I'm okay to offer that up. Your man, Alex Smith, tell our readers all about yourself.
Well, I'm Alex. I'm a Brisbane-based musician. I don't know why I stumble on the word musician there.
Yes, own it. Come on.
I'm also a podcaster from the My Song Suck podcast, and I have a show in Brisbane Fringe called Slow Burn, which is actually extrapolating from the relationship spoken about in the 2 episodes that I've done previously.
Hey!
So it does tie back into the show.
Excellent. A lovely little circle of life there.
We'll put links to those episodes in the show notes as well. So just in case you want to go back and learn a little bit more about Alex, you can.
Yeah, so you've lived experiences in your life and you've turned them into music. You've learned, you've unpacked them in your own creative way by yourself, and you've turned that into art. That's a very good thing to do. Here we do a similar thing. You're going to bring a story. We'll peer over it, put it under the microphone lens, and we'll
Microphone
wrap it up.
lens. I enjoy that.
Can
actually,
can you tell how that I don't spend any time in a lab and all of my time in front of microphones? Oh, here we go. Elizabeth, we do have to get to rules, though.
Ah, boo. Do we?
I mean,
Okay, fine.
pretend there's a new reader, brand new listening.
Hi. Thanks for joining us.
Well done.
We love you already.
Well done on making the decision to join.
Great life choice. But then now I have to tell you the rules, which, So first of all, aliases for anybody that you're talking about. The second rule is if you figure out who Alex is talking about, don't be a little armchair detective and no doxing. It's our don't be a dickhead rule. Basically, we're doing this podcast so that we can all learn from it and listen to the stories and either identify with them or yell insults at our, podcast app of choice when people are making frustrating decisions, but we don't want to upset anybody in real life. This is all a learning experience. And our
third rule,
it's my least favorite, no threats on mic. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to stick with that rule, Alex, knowing you as I do, but off mic, go bananas.
To the wind. So that's our rules, that's our premise, that's our guest, and away we go, I suppose.
Yes.
Alex, please take us away in your own time. Share your story.
So I always have big guilt when I think about talking about exes. And so the way that I've flipped it on its head. By the way, I love the show and I absolutely agree with it. It's one of those rules that I impose on myself, but not anyone else. I'm like, I can't talk about my exes, but everyone else can, and it's fine.
Yes.
So I was like, I have 3 mini stories.
Perfect.
Of 3 little first dates I went on.
I love first date stories.
Yeah. And I'll do them in the order that they occurred.
Okay.
Chronological order. Marvelous. Excellent. So we might, at the end, we might have little lessons learned from one of the stories or big lessons learned, so we'll get to there. Yeah. In the meantime, Alex is going to spin a little tale for us, everybody.
So the first date was not a date.
Oh.
But it was, I had a big crush on someone. And she also appeared in an audio format. And I was like, I really like this person. I really want to go on a date with them. But I don't feel like we really know each other well enough to really go on a date. So what I'll do is I'll say, hey, do you want to hang out in a casual setting?
Do you want to hang out? It's the classic, I'm not going to commit to a date, but do you want to hang out?
But then afterwards you say, hey, I really enjoyed this. Do you want to do this again but make it a date?
Yes. Yes.
And so
strategy, my friend. Strategy.
And Zane knows this story.
Zane just had like a little smile on his face and all of a sudden, yes.
Zane knows the story because I spent many hours after episodes on the couch going, oh, Zane, I have a big crush. What do I do? And so my plan was, we'll hang out a bit and then we'll kind of be more buds. And then at the end I'll be like, hey, I really enjoyed this. Let's do it as a date next time. Would you feel comfortable about that? Would you? Super smooth.
Yep. Cool
Super
guy.
chill.
Mr. Cool Guy.
I do foresee a problem with this, but I will let you continue, and I will tell you if the problem
Liz,
happens.
he's Mr. Cool Guy at the moment. Come on.
See, it's probably not the problem that you expect.
Oh.
I fucked it up
Oh.
way before that problem.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
So I'm like, hey, let's hang out. She's keen, and she's like, let's meet at the Carlisle. I think it was the Carlisle, and I was like, okay, cool. And I get there, and she looks very, very nice. And I've put my best little boy hat on. I'm very fancy looking, and I'm like, hi, it's nice to see you. And she's like, cool. And then we get up to the Carlisle, and it's very fancy. I've never been in the
Carlisle
before.
is one of the most expensive hotels in Brisbane.
Bit of swank. Yep.
I'd never been there before, and I was like, oh.
But it's not like old money fancy. It's very trendy, very new money fancy.
Everything was gold and marble.
Yep.
And
like shades of salmon pink around the
Yeah.
place as well, and minimalist design.
And you get that feeling that at any moment someone's going to ask you to leave.
It's not
Yeah.
a pub.
Like, you
It's
don't
not a
have-
pub at
No.
all. It's
you
a
did well to get in here, mate, but come on.
celebrities go there. In
Yeah.
fact, George Clooney and Julia Roberts were there when they were filming a movie in Queensland recently.
There we go.
Oh.
Baz Luhrmann went there.
Oh.
Fancy people go there.
Don't let Baz Luhrmann direct my biopic, by the way, if
Sure.
I die.
Sure,
Okay,
absolutely.
plan. I'll make sure of it.
I'm not going to tangent about that.
You already
but
did.
I got-
It's done, my friend.
Damn it.
So you've ended up on a first date at a bit of
Wasn't a
swanky.
date. Wasn't a date.
Yeah, that's true.
It
On
wasn't
a
a date.
hangout.
Yeah.
But you've
Oh my
accidentally stumbled into a swanky arena. Does
a
she think
fancy
that? Does she
hang.
think that this is what Alex is doing week in, week out, or is this?
Maybe.
Does she know that? Does she understand that this is unplanned?
Well, that's the thing, because I was like, oh, what's convenient for you? Because it was on her break at work.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, oh, we'll just meet up. And she was like, oh, I know this really nice place. It's the Carlisle. They have really
Okay,
good
gotcha.
avocado fries. And we get there, and she's like, table for two. I have a reservation. I was like, she made a reservation at this
Ooh.
place. Is
this
a date?
Could it be?
And I was like, no, you didn't say it was a date. The dating comes later. Just act like it's cool.
Okay.
Then in my head, I was like, everything about this feels like a date. And I was like, no. But that was where my brain was at. I was like,
Honestly, though, when you go on a one-on-one dinner with somebody who is the same sexuality, as you and your opposite genders,
Yes.
and it's a fancy place, it's gonna feel like even I would have put like if Tom, let's just say that you were single and you're like, hey Liz, come with me to this restaurant and we'll hang, and we were sitting down and someone put my napkin over my lap, I'd be like, is this a date?
And I've made a booking as well.
Yeah.
that was the thing
Yeah.
that threw me. It was
It is
booking.
not cash.
Can you ask?
Booking and
Can you
fancy.
ask mid meal? Is this a date?
No, don't.
No, don't. Absolutely forbidden.
Because
That
then
will
it
ruin
is,
the rest.
and you fucked up.
Right. Yes.
Because I thought we were just getting coffee, and it was gonna be like, let's have like go to
That's
Marlowe's
what a
or something.
hangout implies. She
Yeah.
didn't say, do you want to go out to dinner with me?
And this
You
is
said hang.
yeah, and this is no aspersion on her. Like, it was a lovely hangout. So we get there, and I'm being Alex, like I'm being awkward, and I'm like, ugh! And the audio format program in which she was on, she had mentioned that she had been on a date with a guy, and that he was really asking a lot of heavy questions.
Right.
And to reference that, it's so awkward because she was like, "Oh, the avocado fries, nice," and someone walked past with a bowl of avocado fries, and I was like, "So, abortion,"
Oh dear.
and she was like, because she had mentioned that was the thing he was talking about.
Right.
And it was
so
gonna be a
it
fun
was like
in-joke. And we're
it
gonna
was
be
like,
like,
a hey,
Yeah.
finger guns. This is the thing that you
Yeah.
said that was uncomfortable,
Was
the
uncomfortable.
last time that you went out with someone. So I'm going to sit here and make it real uncomfortable right now.
but
Because
we-
it's hilarious. Alex.
But it was in that way where it was like, I'm not really asking because, obviously, right?
It's a joke about the app that I heard. Get
Yeah,
it?
right?
Dude, no.
And someone walked past with a big bowl of avocado fries, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that is a portion."
Oh, saved. Saved.
But then I said,
Yep.
No.
There
Stop.
we go.
"No, I said,
Stop.
a portion."
I'm in pain.
The window that you were given.
You were given
Just
the rarest of
acres
rare
space.
do-over.
You could have sprinted through that door with your arms wide. It was a
It was
glorious
the
open space.
largest universal do-over that you were
You're
just
right,
given.
Alex. That is a portion. You are right.
Oh, my heart. Keep going. This is awful. Keep going.
And then she was like, "What?" And I was like, like that thing in the thing. She's like, "Oh, yeah, I guess it is like that thing." And then the fries arrived, and I was like, "These got cheese in them?" And the waitress was like, "Yeah, they got heaps of cheese." I was like, "Oh, I'm vegan." And she was like, "Well," and then I think she ate the fries or some of the fries, and I just had some tea. And then afterwards, I walked her back to work and was like, "Oh my God, we were asking about favorite movies." And she was like, "Oh, I really like this movie." And I was like, "Oh, nice." And she was like, "What's your favorite movie?" And I was like, "Oh, I really like Back to the Future." It hasn't aged great because like it does have that implied like assault at the end because like, we knew that he wasn't going to do it, but like she didn't. I guess Marty McFly was kind of just cool to do that to his mum, huh? That's pretty fucked. And she was like, "Yep." And I was like,
Well,
and then I was like, "Well, this was nice. We should do it again
was
sometime."
not nice. Is that just this was nice. Let's do it again sometime. No.
I remember
Don't ever do that again.
I remember it being a lot less painful than it is in memory. And then I walked around the corner and I sent her a text being like, "This was really nice. We should do it again sometime. Would you want to make it a date next time?"
can I clarify? So within a minute or two of saying goodbye and walking,
Less than a minute.
you've turned the corner and gone, "Gee," and got the phone out and sent.
I was
You
like,
can only say that if you get the vibes on the date.
"This was nice. Let's do it again." She was like, "Okay." And then I walked around the corner and was like, click, 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 click. "This was nice. Let's do it again. Do you want to make it a date?" And she was like, "Nah, hey." And I was like, "Yeah, look, fair." And that's the first story.
Alex.
Okay.
Alex.
While Liz takes a breath, I'm
Alex.
just go and walk around the room, everyone, shake it off.
I'm so sorry, producer Zane, for the sound levels of how much we all just shouted into our microphones just then.
Gripping the desk in
I'm
anxiety,
sweating.
anxious and secondhand. Wow.
I'm schwitzing after that
Well,
story.
we're
She and I are still buds.
Yeah.
good.
and-
You did well. Well done.
We've never spoken about it since.
I feel like there's a reason.
Yeah, but I hope she knows that I know how fucking awful that was from
So
start to finish.
so it's just a case of your brain going, "Hey, here's what's coming out the pipe. Any checks on this?" And then your smart brain goes, "Nope, it seems all good here." And then it just comes tumbling out. These words come tumbling out of your mouth, and you don't know what you've done. Oh dear. If it's any consolation, you'll be kicking yourself for the rest of time, probably for these little hiccups.
That's such a
I am.
consolation, Tom. Well done for pointing that out.
Because it happens to everyone. We all go through these things. That's what I'm saying. You're not alone. Everyone lies in bed at night going, "Ah!" at various moments in their history, so don't worry. So that's story one.
All right.
I've had
I'm ready.
so many fucking awkward dates.
Oh,
and that's
dude.
the one that I remember. So, like, what have I done that I don't remember?
See, at least you're gutsy though to go on dates. My awkward interactions happen on the apps, and then I throw my phone across the room and never meet anyone ever again. So, like, at least I'm giving you props for having the guts to go on the dates, to get the stories, because that's a step further than me, my friend.
Thank you.
Oh, that sounds so forlorn. Let's go story 2 then.
So, story 2. I met this person. It was a Hinge person, and we met at like a taco place. It was a vegan taco place, and this one's much shorter, much less good, I guess. But we just had dinner. I was super nervous because she was a Gold Coast gal. And
Oh, they're a different breed, those Gold Coast gals. I just went on a boat trip on the weekend on the Gold Coast, and oh my God, are Gold Coast people different. I imagine it's like the difference between like California, Venice Beach people and New Yorkers, sort of. Like it's just, I mean, we're not quite as cool as New Yorkers, let's be honest. It's Brisbane.
No, they're
But it's like very tan beach hot people.
yeah. She could do better, and she knew it, and I knew it. We both knew it. And I ran a little bit late and I had to get a lift from my dad. And I was out the front of the thing being like, what the, looking at the thing. And then she was like, are you here for me? And I was like, hello, yes, hello. And then I sat down and like, I think after the first 20 minutes, she was like, you're fine, chill, you're okay. And she kept like calming me down because I was so visibly nervous.
Oh, honey.
Oh, you poor lamb.
Yeah, but we started to like chill out and hit that groove where I was like, all right, she's probably not going to flip the table over and be like, how dare you be near me, filth.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I think I'm cool. And we started clicking and like, it was nice. And I was like, all right, we're vibing. This is nice. And I made her laugh like a bunch of times. And I was like, all right, yeah, no, we're cool. We're cool.
That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she got to a point, she said something, basically somehow it came up with like, like, what mental illnesses do you have? Or something. She asked that to me.
What, in that intonation? Like,
Essentially.
what mental illnesses do you have?
I think we're talking about like, because
There wasn't just silence and she went, so what mental illnesses do you have? Come on, spill. It's clear.
You got something, Alex.
How does that come up in? Okay, there better have been a good lead in, is all I'm saying.
The only thing I can think of is that one of the prompts that I put on Hinge, which got me a lot of responses, I might add, is that I'd be like, what's your superpower? And it was, I'm a man in 2020 who goes to therapy of his own free will. And
yes,
I don't
good.
like that it got as many things as it did. And some people would be like, it's the bare minimum. Wow. And I'd be like, it is the bare minimum, but a lot of guys aren't doing that.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that the bare minimum was a badge of honor, so I'm going to wear it.
Yeah. I mean, shit, I would have given you a gold star for that. If I see anyone that goes to therapy willingly, I'm like, yes, gold star, regardless of who they are.
Absolutely.
Well done. Work on yourself.
Yeah. Evidently, by the last story, you could tell it hasn't worked. I'm a fucking mess. But I think we were talking about that prompt. She's like, oh, you go to therapy, yeah. And I think she was like, what illnesses do you have? Oh, because I was like, because, I think everyone should go to therapy because, we all got stuff. Yeah. So I was like, what do you have? And I was like, oh, I got like, depression, anxiety.
No. Sorry, not
I
first date. No.
Oh. Well, it was a lifesaver because I was like, depression, anxiety, BPD. And she was like, so say that to me and I'm going to do what would be a bit in response to that.
All right. Oh, okay. So I've got depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder.
Well, yeah, I got to go. So, yeah. And you'd be like, oh, that's a funny bit. And she kept going and I was like, oh, you're not kidding. Oh, you really just pulled the plug on that one.
Oh, dear.
And it's a borderline personality disorder. I'm so sorry.
Oh, sorry.
And she was like, I think that we had a really good time together and I can really see how we would be good, but I just don't think that we're going to be a good couple. And I was like, oh, are you actually pulling the plug right now on this date? I didn't even finish my sentence. And she was like, yeah, I've known people with BPD and I don't want to do that romantically. So I'm ending this date.
So points off to her for so immediately sort of inquiring and then being like, nope, I'm out. But at least she's like, no, I can't. I know this won't make me go. I know it won't work. And she's tried to say
that she knows what she wants. But I guess I would have wasted my own time by not talking about it on the first date. But I just wouldn't talk about I talk about mental health in terms of let's look after our mental health, but I'm not sure I'd give them my medical history on the first date. I don't know. That's weird. Now I'm thinking about it. Now, should I be more honest up front and be like, yeah, I'm depressed sometimes and anxious a lot. And nice to meet you.
Well, what was fucked was that because I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I've known people with BPD and like it's fucked and I don't want to be around that. And I was like,
but that's so
fair.
abrupt though.
But like I've spent years in therapy. I'm medicated. Like I'm doing all the stuff. Like I'm, I can understand that.
It's not untreated.
Yeah. I'm working on myself. And she's like, essentially with more words, like, nope, you are irredeemable. Someone with borderline personality can never be someone I would ever date. And I was like, okay. Mm-hmm. And then, I was like,
sorry, my mouth is just still open at this. I don't.
I'm puzzled by this a little.
And
there's no way I would have the guts to be that up front and just be like, nope, I'm out. I just feel like that's so, like you've just been vulnerable.
Yeah.
And then abandoning someone when they've just been vulnerable is actually pretty fucking horrible.
And I remember the reason why I remembered it as like a punchline, how quick, was because I was like, I don't normally tell people because it's got a bad rap, but BPD. And she was like, oh, well, I'm going to, and I was like, oh, I see. But weirdly enough, when she was like, nah, I was like,
Okay.
I felt so chill.
Yeah.
And then we were able to just have a nice evening. And then afterwards, I paid for dinner, and she was like, but this isn't gonna, there's nothing here. And I was like, yeah, I know, I just want to pay for dinner. She was like, oh, that's really nice. And like seemed really blown away by that. And I was like, you seem like you've lived a life. This is odd.
Honestly, though, society does train women that if someone
Transactional.
pays for us, we're meant to owe them something. Like it's shit, but when someone just wants to give us something with no strings attached, there's a lot of why? Because I'm a nice person. What?
Probably,
Sorry,
yeah, so-
nice person. What is this nice person? I don't know.
Probably well-earned cautiousness on behalf there.
True.
Okay, so yeah, that's a rough ending.
Although I did have, so aside from the red flag of her rejecting me based on something I can't change fundamentally about myself.
It's not like if she had have texted you later and said, look, I've had dealings with people with this and it's not something that I vibe with. But being so abrupt as to like you've revealed something that is not easy to reveal and to have someone immediately go, nope, I'm out. That's quite rude.
Yeah, it never
Yes.
really occurred to me before then that having BPD would be a block in dating. It was just like, I'm just like a silly
Yeah,
little guy.
because now she's probably given you a little bit of a complex about it, which you shouldn't have because so many people have so much stuff.
I don't know, but that's what happens. She probably had a negative experience with some kind of mental
And
illness.
she's allowed to put that boundary down,
In
just
the
not
past,
in the
yeah.
manner that she did it, I don't think.
So she's brought her own negative baggage with her and life experience and expectations with her, and rightfully or probably wrongfully has dismissed anyone else that comes along matter of factly. So,
Well-
story 3 we tumble into, or are we still processing
No,
story 2?
let's go story 3 and
Yes.
then we can talk about lessons at the end.
True. Well, story 3 is the story of how I met my current partner,
Ooh,
Oh.
very good.
which was the next day. Because your boy plays the dating game.
See, this is like, I fucking applaud you, man. I don't have the energy for that shit.
I was like, this could go one of two ways. It could go badly, it could go well. And it went badly. So, and also, it was the first date for both of them.
Okay.
So, you gotta figure out who people are.
Okay.
First date is not who they really are.
No.
It's not who I really am.
No.
Yeah.
So have we got an alias for, like, just in case we need to mention a name? Because the other story is when they're first dates, you don't really need to mention a name.
there's
But if
no
you're
need.
involved with someone, you're probably going to need a fake name.
I will do a fake name because it is the show.
Yes.
But I feel very happy with talking about this. We will call her Pickle.
No, we will not have a lady name. Or a name that's not an object, please.
I was on board with Pickle, just
Yeah.
Okay, fine,
just as an
Pickle.
aside.
It's a
Just
cute name.
Write
to
in
have
if you
my-
hate it, everybody.
Yep. So you met your little Pickle. All
Yeah,
right.
Pickle.
Yeah,
Now, in contrast to, I honestly don't know how I landed my current partner because she's an absolute delight. And so the first night was very formal at a fancy, dimly lit, very expensive vegan taco restaurant.
Was it a no-one date between you going in? Was it?
Yes, that
Yes,
one was
yep,
a date.
Yep.
This one was also a date. They were. I never done the let's have a date
Yep.
later ever again.
Yeah.
This was also a Hinge person, and this date was originally gonna be first, like 3 weeks earlier.
Ah.
Right.
But it got pushed back because she was anxious, and I think she was sick. Anxious, then sick, and so
Fair call.
that's how it fell on that timing. And I didn't want to be like, I actually have a date the night before, because that's pretty scummy.
Yes.
I would have probably cancelled. Even though that's reasonable for you to have a date
Yeah,
the night
yeah,
before,
probably.
I'd still be like, backing it up. Like, how did that date go?
So it was and it was at my work. And I just happened to work at a very good first date location that
Right.
I like to go on first dates. I work at Netherworld. It's a very cool place. Y'all should go.
It's like explain to people what Netherworld is as to why it's a cool place.
So it's a bar and arcade with pinball machines and old arcade machines.
So that kind of place.
Yeah. And they have all the menu is vegan automatically. So it's got really, really good food.
I'm such a carnivore that I'm like, where's my meat? No, wait, don't use that as a soundbite ever. Cut it out. Get rid of it in post.
But you can swap out for meat for free.
Hooray!
Whereas usually at places you have to pay extra for vegan stuff. So that's the cool thing about Netherworld.
That is cool.
And the reason here's my argument for Netherworld as a first date and why I'm not a big piece of shit.
This is not an ad, by the way.
Because it is affordable. It's not cheap. You're not a cheapskate. It's affordable. And you can have like your dinner. And then you can be like, this was fun. You know, we don't want this to end. You can go play some games, have like a fun little competitive, you know, like a game thing.
I am all for that, to be honest with you. Like, the confines of dinner as a first date always make me anxious because if you don't like someone, you're stuck waiting for an entire meal and then eating and blah, blah, blah. But when you've got first dates that involve some kind of competitive thing that can bring out fun side or give you an opportunity to be a bit silly with someone rather than form it, like it's not it's not a job interview anymore. It becomes fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was why I chose Netherworld.
Fair enough.
And I figured I'm so anxious on first dates. And I was like, maybe if I have like the home turf advantage, I'll go from insanely anxious to like normal person level of anxious.
Yeah.
I went on a mini golf first date with someone the other day to do the competitive thing. And I was just like, we have nothing in common. I dislike you. This is taking forever. And I wish I was with someone else.
Oh, I did it bowling and it was fun. We've talked about bowling dates before. I don't know what it is about bowling dates, but I enjoy them a lot, even if the person's a douchebag, because then I can trounce them. I'm bad at bowling. It never happens.
It just made me think about friends I would rather be golfing with. And I was
That's
like,
when you do the thing when you text one of your friends and go, I'm having a shit date. Can you just happen to show up and be like, oh my God, fancy seeing you here? Because as a woman, I'm telling you, I've done that before and it works. Because then the other person also is like, oh my God, I have a reprieve and I hate you, so goodbye. Works for everybody.
That date was so awkward because I met them in the car park by mistake. I like parked up and I was like, hey, you're...
Oh no, so before you're like ready to be on for date mode? No.
Fucking...
Anyway, Netherworld.
Yeah. It is the floods, the Brisbane floods, the recent Brisbane floods in
I was going to say,
February.
which ones? Our city floods a lot.
Yeah. And I pull up and on the drive to the date, there's a set of lights on a hill. And so I brake and I hear this slosh. And for some reason, my car has like 3 buckets of water in it.
Oh.
And I'm like, what the fuck? I have a date. I'm on the way to a date right now. And so I'm like, I guess this is happening. And so I drive to this date with my Flintstones ass car sloshing around. Like, it sounds like an exaggeration. I cannot...
Even when the smallest amount of water gets in your car, it sloshes though. Like I had a small amount of water in a door once and it sounded like a fucking floodgates opening. So
I had like
holy,
ankles.
like what?
Like my feet were underwater.
No,
Jeez.
that's not mechanically safe.
It was very unsafe. And so I think the absurdity of that took away all my anxiety.
Yeah,
Yes.
good. Yeah.
Because I rocked up because obviously I was a little late because I'm a fucking train wreck of a person. And I rocked up to my own work late and did the old umbrella and was just like, hi, sorry. I just had the weirdest fucking thing happen.
My
But that's
car's
such a
underwater.
great
Yeah, it's
icebreaker.
good. Yeah.
Dumb stories that happen on the way. Great icebreaker. I locked my keys in my house once and I was like, oh my God, I'm an hour late because I had to get someone from the real estate to
Yep,
come out.
you're
and
in.
he
You're
was
away
like,
then.
as if that happened. So then we back and forth teased each other for a while. It was great.
And because I have no social skills, I was like, also, I had a date last night and it went so terribly.
There we go. Come on, man. What are you doing to us here? You're really digging in to hurt us. Oh,
I
Alex.
have to, at the end of the night, I feel like I come back into the room and there's like a bunch of little gremlins with papers and I'm like, so what did we do today? It's like, well, you told this girl you had a date last night. I'm like, why did we do that? Why? Why would we do that? And But fortunately, she's a very compassionate and caring person and was like,
good.
oh, that's terrible. That must have been so horrible for that to have happened. I was like, yeah, it was fucked. Meh.
I would have gone, good for me then, I guess.
Well, I guess everything happens for a reason. Hey, babe.
And then I would have left if you said that.
On that date, she spilt a pint of some seltzer on me, which was just fun. And I think she liked how chill I was about it. Because she reacted as though I was about to blow up and would be like, what the fuck? I was just like, oh man.
You're like, love, I came here in a reverse submarine. I'm
I work here. People spill shit on me all the time.
Yeah, but it was super chill. We played some games. I just remembered I won her a Burger Time pin. At Netherworld, if you get high score.
Okay, I feel like we need to ask them to sponsor us for this episode. It is not sponsored. This is not an ad. But I feel now we need to ask them for money.
But any date you're on where you win your beau a prize, that's a pretty good. That's a good move, isn't it?
Yeah.
So well done to you.
But you gotta not be a fucking wiener, which is why I'm able to win the pins.
I mean, you work there. You've got the home court advantage. You know how the games work.
Well, actually. Oh, no, I do. So there's an arcade machine in my house that my dad bought for my mum, so that's why I'm good at Burger Time. So I have even more of a home advantage.
That'll do it.
Also, I can't believe I started that with well, actually. I hated that. I'm sorry.
Actually.
Well, actually.
Okay.
So this third date, the circumstances going into it were a bit kerfuffle, and you did mention that you were on a date the night before, which is a little bit of a wrinkle, but all in all, sounds quite fun. It sounds sweet. It sounds like you got along.
Yeah.
And the calamity leading into it, you and your wet car, was actually a great buffer to sort of shed you of your anxiety. You walk in going, you'll never believe what's going on. And you sort of appear cooler, calmer, and more collected.
If I've got like a silly thing to meme on, I'm sweet. But when it's like, hi there, other person, I need you to convince me why I should spend the rest of my life with you, Alex Smith. And I'm like, oh, you shouldn't. I'm the worst. I don't want to spend the rest of my life with me. I have medication because of it. And they're like, and I'm like, yeah, fair. And then the date's over.
That's not, no. Okay. I have some things to say in lessons learned.
Yes, as we trundle
how did
Well,
the end of this date go?
The nice ending of the date is that things were really nice. We were both just like, I feel like I've met you somewhere before. And I was like, yeah, you seem really familiar. You have a very familiar energy. And then I was like, do you want a lift home? Not in like a...
Come up for coffee kind of way.
And she was like, sure. And I was like, I must warn you, my car is
underwater,
full of water. And she was like, that's fine. And then, we got into my sloshy ass car and I was driving it back and it was just like, and we just kind of look at each other and like...
it's like me at the beach.
Yeah. And I remember there was a traffic light in the city that I pulled up at, and she was just like, you have very beautiful eyes.
Oh.
And I was like, that's very nice of you to say. Thank you. I don't get compliments. And she was like, what you say? I thought you'd like to hear it. It's very true. And I was like, and then I was like, I would like to go on a date with you again. Normally I wait till afterwards, but I want to go on a date with you again. She's like, I want to go on a date with you again too.
Oh, that's super sweet. That's nice. What
adorable.
Satisfying.
And both your soggy feet were sitting there staring into each other's beautiful eyes while you're meant to be driving.
It was a red light.
Okay,
because we had pulled up and sloshed, and I looked at her like
Right.
that. And she's like, you have nice eyes.
Right.
Oh, that's very
Against
cute.
every logical cell in her brain, she seemed to be like, yeah, this is the one, this fucking guy. And I'm like, thank you. And I feel lucky to be with her every day.
Oh, bless.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
So 3 stories from your man Alex Smith. We'll trundle towards lesson learned. Do you want to pick one from one particular story?
One?
No, I'm
Just one?
I was asking the
Look,
team.
my main one is that, how do I put this? You've got to go into a date thinking that you're amazing, because if you don't think you're amazing, nobody else will think that you're amazing. And I feel like a lot of people go into dates going, I have to prove to this person why I am a worthy choice, whereas it should be they need to prove to me why they're a worthy choice for me. And I know it's really hard because I am the queen of self-deprecation. Like if you ask any of my friends, I constantly tell myself that I'm a piece of shit and, I need to do better at things, you stupid bitch. But like, on the inside, I know my value as a human being, as to like, yeah, the right person who wants to date me will think it's funny that I think I'm an idiot or sometimes, or, you know, will appreciate the fact that I trip over things that don't exist. But it's like, I could sit there and go, that makes me a clumsy, ridiculous person. And I do, but that's adorable. Like, you've got to find things to love about any flaws that you have, because if you go into a date thinking that no one's going to love you, it will become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And I'm going to tack my lesson learned on top of Elizabeth's and warn everyone about self-deprecating humor. On the everyone knows people that are self-deprecating and they're hilarious, right? And it's funny and they're brilliant. Exactly. But don't make it your whole personality, because being around someone who's self-deprecating 100% of the time is exhausting, and you will not look. You think you're coming off like dark or mysterious or self-loathing or introspective or something, but you're not. You're coming across.
Got to be a balance.
As a whingy, like, oh, nobody likes me, I'm useless, and it's just like, I'm over it. So don't make it your whole personality.
Yeah, there's definitely a line. You can lean into the ridiculousness of who you are as a person,
play with but
don't use it to get other people to say, no, you're not. Do you know what I mean? And the other lesson that I had is it goes to speak to, I guess, first date etiquette. When somebody shares something with you that's really difficult, don't shut them down immediately. You can set a boundary and just be like, oh, that's a shame, later on. But I feel like someone has gone to the effort of making themselves a little bit vulnerable to you, and by making a joke about it, you're going to give them a complex.
Yes, a little bit of tact would be.
So tell them how you feel by all means, and you don't need to hide it. If someone says something that is a deal breaker, then absolutely tell them it's a deal breaker, but don't get up and leave in the middle. It's just, there's a kind way to explain your boundaries to somebody. Is what I think.
Yep, I agree. Alex, from the 3 tales you've brought, any lessons of your own? Sometimes you don't learn a lesson in life. Sometimes you go, I was a big dummy and I didn't learn anything, so I'm still a big dummy. You don't have to learn a lesson.
I guess from the first one is that it's not a date unless you say it's a date, which is obvious, but even if you get there and it looks like a date, it's still not a date. It's only a date if you say it was a date. I don't know why that was the takeaway, because that didn't really come back into the narrative. I think it just explained why I was anxious. But feel the vibe. If you've been you can't want something enough to make it into a thing just because you want them to like you.
No, absolutely not.
Doesn't mean the vibes were there.
And you're going to put yourself through a lot of pain if you consider keeping yourself in the race if it's clear that you're not. One more lesson I need to point out: if the universe gives you a do-over, if you say something stupid and somehow someone in the world didn't hear it properly, you don't need to repeat yourself. Just let it go. Yeah. Just let it go.
That was the worst
let it go.
That's ever happened.
Let it go.
And someone can be not good enough for you.
Yes.
And I guess the third date, the right person will love you, even if you're a weirdo. But
you got to find your own weirdo, right? Like, everyone has their own perfect weirdo person there that'll think their quirks are lovely. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Alex, for coming in and sharing 3 stories. Elizabeth.
Can we get the details of your show, please?
You absolutely can. It is called Slow Burn. It's part of Brisbane Fringe. Actually, Fringe Brisbane is the way that they've branded it.
Interesting.
It's on Sunday, the 16th of October, and it is on again Friday, the 21st of October. You can get tickets via the Fringe Brisbane website or just search Slow Burn. There's also a Facebook event, and it's a musical cabaret theatre extravaganza theatrical performance of my album Slow Burn, which you can hear on Bandcamp, Spotify, and iTunes.
And you will give us all those links, and we will put all of those links in the show notes so that people can just go straight to the show notes and go, I want to buy tickets to that, and press the button.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
There we go. I'll plug the album Slow Burn. There you go. Just
thank you.
as an add-on there. Gee whiz, thank you everyone for.
That's so enjoyable and also painful, but so enjoyable.
I think that's a good summary of the show as well.
Yeah.
Slow Burn.
We're going to put it on the poster. So enjoyable, painful, but so enjoyable. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now, next time, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to write in, you can go to ghostofboyfriendspast@gmail.com. You can go to that'snotcanon.com/ghostofboyfriendspast and fill in our little form. And even if you don't want to have your voice, you can write in to us and write your full story, and then either Tom or I will dramatically act it out, and then we will react to your story, and you don't have to out yourself as to who you are. But in the meantime, I've been Liz Best.
I'm Tom Harris. Keep listening, keep rating, keep reviewing.
And when the universe gives you a do-over, just take it.
Yes,
Dear
please,
God, take
please,
it.
we implore you.
Yeah.